The Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, is said to be going through a difficult time with her oldest son, which has led to a lot of conjecture. Kate is a loving mother who always puts her kids' welfare first, so this news is very upsetting. Does this have anything to do with George's education, future, or something else entirely? The public eagerly expects further clarification on the issue as rumors strengthen. The education history of the British royal family. The educational background of the British royal family is lengthy and intriguing, reflecting both tradition and modernization. In contrast to the previous royal generations, who received their education mostly from private tutors and specialized training, contemporary royals are increasingly attending conventional schools and colleges, and even studying with classmates who are not royal. This educational progression highlights the compromise between upholding royal traditions and adjusting to modern academic standards. Early education of British monarchs. Private tutors were used to educate British kings and their descendants for centuries. This approach was created to provide specialized training in areas like history, languages, diplomacy, and administration that were considered essential for royal responsibilities. Queen Elizabeth I and other Tudor and Stuart queens were renowned for their rigorous and classical education. Roger Ascham, Elizabeth I's instructor, helped her become fluent in Latin, French, Greek, and Italian, among other languages. Members of the royal family continued to receive individual instruction throughout the late 19th and early 20th centuries, sometimes behind palace gates. Following this tradition, Queen Victoria and her offspring prioritized a curriculum emphasizing European languages, etiquette, and constitutional law. Formal education was not given much importance outside the royal houses. The education of 20th century royals. In contrast to earlier generations, King George VI and his brother Edward VIII attended the Royal Naval College at Osborne and Dartmouth. This signaled the start of a trend in military education for male royals and marked a fundamental transition in the 20th century. Although he too attended similar schools, his elder brother, Edward VIII, approached his studies less assiduously. Private tuition continued under Queen Elizabeth II, who was born in 1926. Her mother and governess, Marion Crawford, gave her most of her home education, emphasizing language, history, and constitutional law. She never went to a formal school or university as her predecessors did. Still, she was heavily trained in state issues by constitutional experts, especially when she assumed her heir presumptive position. The shift to formal schooling. Prince Charles, born in 1948, began the contemporary age of royal education. Charles defied convention by becoming the first heir to the throne to go to school instead of receiving private tutoring at home. Before transferring to Cheam School and Gordonstoun in Scotland, renowned for its complex and physically taxing curriculum, he attended Hill House School in London. Even though Gordonstoun presented difficulties, Charles said the experience gave him a feeling of fortitude and self-reliance. He attended Trinity College in Cambridge to study history, anthropology, and archaeology, becoming the first British heir to get a university degree. His siblings, Prince Andrew, Prince Edward, and Princess Anne, all went to formal schools after Charles. Prince Andrew and Prince Edward also went to Gordonstoun, following Charles's example. On the other hand, Princess Anne went to Bennington School, a significant change from the private tuition system that had been the standard for female royals. Education of Prince William and Prince Harry. The transition to a more traditional educational environment was further supported by Prince William and Prince Harry's education. Before attending Eton College, one of Britain's most prominent boarding institutions, both attended Wetherby School and Ludgrove School. After that, Prince William studied geography at the University of St Andrews in Scotland, where he also met Katherine Middleton, his future wife. In contrast, Prince Harry did not pursue further education. He decided to pursue a career in the military after graduating from Eton and enrolled in the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst. After serving in the British Army, he continued to help military veterans via humanitarian endeavors and went on missions in Afghanistan. Education of the new generation of royals. This history of formal education is being carried on by the next generation of royals, which includes Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Lambrook School, a coeducational preparatory institution renowned for its demanding academic standards and extracurricular activities, is where Prince George and Princess Charlotte are students. Other younger royals, including Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's children, Archie and Lilibet, are growing up in the U.S. and are anticipated to have a different educational background than their cousins in the U.K. Their education will probably be similar to that of the United States, showing how the royal family adjusts to changing conditions. Education remarks transition. A notable shift from private tutoring to formal schooling and higher education may be seen in the development of education among the British royal family. Former kings received the most of their education within the royal gates. Still, more recent generations have embraced regular schools and university education, bringing them more in line with modern academic standards. This adjustment guarantees that members of the royal family are more equipped for their positions in public life and reflects social shifts. Future royals could see even more incorporation of contemporary teaching methods while preserving the customs that make them unique as education advances. King George VI. Being the second son of King George V and Queen Mary, King George VI was not initially meant for the throne. He was born Albert Frederick Arthur George on December 14, 1895, and his reign saw Britain through World War II. But once his older brother, King Edward VIII, abdicated in 1936, he took the throne and steered the country with tenacity and fortitude. Even though King George VI had personal difficulties, such as a speech impairment, his education and upbringing were important in forming his legacy and leadership. Early education and childhood. Albert, who would become King George VI, was raised rigorously and orderly as a young prince. Despite being naturally left-handed, he was compelled to use his right hand, which is standard procedure. Additionally, he had knock knees, a persistent illness that necessitated the use of uncomfortable corrective splints. His terrible stutter was one of his biggest personal challenges, significantly impacting his confidence. The royal custom of private tutoring was followed throughout his early schooling. Albert's education was managed mainly by governesses and private tutors, in contrast to his younger daughter, Queen Elizabeth II, who subsequently benefited from more organized instruction. As was customary for royal men, he studied history, Latin, French, mathematics, and military training. But because he was never supposed to become king, his schooling was not considered rigorous. Naval and military education. After completing his early schooling, Albert continued his study at the Royal Naval College, Dartmouth, before enrolling in the Royal Naval College, Osborne, in 1909. His naval education was intended to prepare him for a career in the military, as is customary for British princes. He had a nervous temperament and struggled intellectually, but he persisted and joined the Royal Navy in 1913. Albert was a midshipman on HMS Collingwood during World War I. He participated in the most significant naval engagement of the war, the Battle of Jutland, in 1916. However, he was moved to desk work because of persistent health difficulties, such as persistent stomach troubles. He briefly studied history, economics, and civics at Trinity College in Cambridge after the war to further his grasp of government. Struggles with public speaking. King George VI's difficulty with public speaking was one of the most distinctive features of his schooling. Being a member of the royal family, when public speaking was crucial, his severe stutter made speeches a nightmare. He turned to Australian speech therapist Lionel Logue for assistance in overcoming this. Through commitment and rigorous practice, he greatly enhanced his speech, which allowed him to speak with assurance to the country at pivotal times, especially during World War II. A steadfast and beloved monarch. King George VI's education was influenced by his struggles, military training, and the demands of his royal role. His leadership and rule were characterized by his tenacity in conquering challenges, especially his speech issues. Despite his lack of preparation for the throne, he was a loyal and adored king who led Britain through one of its most trying eras. Queen Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon. One of the most adored individuals in British royal history was Queen Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, who was thereafter referred to as the Queen Mother. She was the ninth of 10 children born to Claude Bowes-Lyon, 14th Earl of Strathmore and Kinghorn, and Cecilia Cavendish Bentinck on August 4, 1900, at their ancestral house, St. Paul's Waldenbury in Hertfordshire. Duty, tenacity, and an intense devotion to the British monarchy characterized her life. Her upbringing prepared her for the crucial role she would later play as Queen Elizabeth II's mother and King George VI's wife, even though she was not born into direct monarchy. Early life and education. Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon's love of customs and legacy was heavily influenced by her early years at her family's Scottish castle, Glamis Castle. Elizabeth's education was mostly done at home, in contrast to the organized formal education that many of her royal descendants received. A governess educated her, emphasizing literature, history, and languages, especially French, which was deemed necessary for a woman of noble origin. Her upbringing mirrored the standards of aristocratic ladies in her day, strongly emphasizing the arts, hospitality, and character development. She became passionate in literature, music, and horseback riding, subsequently influencing her public appearances as a queen. Elizabeth was renowned for her keen intelligence, quick wit, and remarkable interpersonal abilities, enabling her to interact with people from all walks of life, even though she had no formal education. Marriage and royal responsibilities. Her life dramatically shifted when Elizabeth married Prince Albert, Duke of York, in 1923. At first, she hesitated to marry since she knew how much responsibility came with being a princess. But in the end, she agreed to his proposal, and their wedding at Westminster Abbey was a well-publicized occasion. Elizabeth made many public appearances while serving as Duchess of York and had a reputation for being kind, charming, and able to uplift people. When her husband unexpectedly became King George VI in 1936, following the abdication of his brother Edward VIII, Elizabeth's role grew significantly. As queen consort, Elizabeth supported her husband without wavering, particularly during the challenging years of World War II. Her well-known refusal to leave London during the Blitz won her the affection of the British public and strengthened her reputation as a symbol of the country's tenacity. Later years and legacy. Elizabeth assumed the title of Queen Mother upon the death of King George VI in 1952 and continued to be involved in public life. She became well-liked in Britain and the Commonwealth and supported many humanitarian initiatives. She maintained popularity until she died in 2002 at 101 because of her strong sense of responsibility, loyalty to family, and interpersonal skills. Conventional academic path. Despite not having a traditional academic background, Queen Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon was raised with the virtues of responsibility, compassion, and fortitude. She was raised in a privileged environment and taught the value of duty and service at a young age since she was born into the aristocratic Bowes-Lyon family. She was raised in a traditional environment at Glamis Castle, where she grew to have an intense devotion to her family and nation. Despite not having a formal university education, she was intelligent, well-read, and had a good grasp of human nature, which helped King George VI tremendously in the future. Queen Mother. She remained in London during the Blitz, raising morale and exhibiting tenacity in the face of hardship. Her constant presence and support for the British people throughout World War II cemented her status as the Queen Mother. She was well respected for her warmth, charisma, and uncompromising commitment to duty. She remained a well-liked public figure even after her husband's death. Her reputation as a caring leader and devoted consort is still honored today, representing elegance, strength, and an unwavering devotion to the monarchy. Prince George, Duke of Kent. A member of the British royal family, Prince George, Duke of Kent, was well known for his diplomatic activities, military service, and turbulent personal life. King George V and Queen Mary had a fourth son, born on December 20, 1902, at York Cottage on the Sandringham estate. Prince George was a vital member of the royal family and left his unique mark as the younger brother of two future kings, King Edward VIII and King George VI. Early life and education. Prince George's early schooling followed royal customs, much like his brothers. Discipline, responsibility, and a dedication to service characterized his childhood. Under Queen Mary's careful supervision, private tutors taught him at home. His curriculum emphasized moral principles and the responsibilities expected of a prince in the British royal line, while still covering essential topics like history, literature, languages, and mathematics. Prince George was transferred to Osborne Naval College, a distinguished school created to prepare young royals and aristocrats for careers in the Navy at 13, continuing the family's heritage of military education. He excelled academically and athletically at the Royal Naval College in Dartmouth, where he completed his training. During this time, he gained resilience and leadership abilities to serve him well in his future duty. Military and diplomatic career. In 1920, Prince George enlisted in the Royal Navy upon his graduation. He steadily rose in rank while serving on several ships, notably HMS Iron Duke. However, his burgeoning interest in aviation and diplomacy ended his naval career. He demonstrated his flexibility and readiness to take on new tasks when he left the Navy in the late 1920s to join the Royal Air Force, RAF, as an officer. Prince George was actively engaged in diplomatic endeavors outside of his military career, making many formal trips on behalf of the British Crown. He showed a strong interest in international issues by traveling widely and promoting ties between Britain and many European countries. His proficiency in languages, such as French and German, increased his efficacy in diplomatic interactions. Personal life and legacy. The British and Greek royal family's relationship was strengthened in 1934 when Prince George wed Princess Marina of Greece and Denmark. Prince Edward, who became the Duke of Kent, was one of the couple's 3 children. Prince George, the first of the British royal family to die while on active military service, tragically lost his life in an aircraft accident on August 25, 1942, during World War II. His commitment to royal obligations and military and diplomatic efforts affected the British monarchy. Deeply rooted in tradition. Prince George, Duke of Kent, was a notable prince who showed extraordinary commitment to his personal pursuits, diplomacy, and military duty. He was brought up in a home that valued responsibility, custom, and national service as the 4th son of King George V and Queen Mary. His education, which was firmly based on these principles, equipped him with the abilities required for his naval career and his contributions to international affairs, preparing him for a life of responsibility. He served in the Royal Navy after training at the Royal Naval College in Dartmouth. He then moved on to positions in the Foreign Office and the Home Office, where he was instrumental in diplomatic matters. In addition to his official responsibilities, Prince George was well known for his brilliance, charisma, and diverse interests, which included the arts and flying. The royal family and the country suffered a significant loss when he died suddenly in an aircraft disaster in 1942. Despite his short life, his influence on the history of the British royal family and his descendants carries on his legacy. His efforts at diplomacy and public service bear witness to his dedication to duty and the changing role of the monarchy in the 20th century. Prince Henry, Duke of Gloucester. A well-known member of the British royal family, Prince Henry, Duke of Gloucester, was renowned for his commitment to public service, military service, and diplomatic endeavors. King George V and Queen Mary had a 3rd son, born on March 31, 1900, in York College on the Sandringham estate. Prince Henry, the younger brother of King Edward VIII and King George VI, was an essential auxiliary royal family member. His primary commitments were colonial administration and military duty. Early life and education. The regimented customs of the British royal family were followed throughout Prince Henry's schooling. At first, he received his education at home under the guidance of private tutors. History, literature, mathematics, and many languages, primarily French and German, necessary for diplomatic contacts, were all part of his education. He left the home-based education many royals had received in 1913 and was transferred to St. Peter's Court Preparatory School in Broadstairs, Kent. He then studied at one of the most prominent universities in Britain, Eton College, where he was well known for his physical prowess, especially in polo and cricket. His experience at Eton prepared him for a career in public service by fostering his independence and leadership abilities. Military and public service. Following his studies at Eton, Prince Henry went to Sandhurst's Royal Military College, where he graduated in 1919. He was appointed second lieutenant in the King's Royal Rifle Corps. He served in many regiments throughout his military career before becoming a major general. In contrast to his brothers, Henry was dedicated to his work in the British Army and served many years as an active military officer. In addition to serving in the military, Prince Henry represented the monarchy on several diplomatic missions and royal responsibilities. He became the first member of the British royal family to be appointed Governor-General of Australia in 1945. Throughout his term, he worked to improve ties between Britain and Australia and aid in the nation's post-war rebuilding. Personal life and legacy. Lady Alice Montagu Douglas Scott and Prince Henry were married in 1935, and their relationship was well praised. Prince William of Gloucester and Prince Richard, Duke of Gloucester, were the couple's sons. Henry kept a modest profile compared to his more well-known brothers, emphasizing public service and military duty above political matters. Prince Henry's health deteriorated in his final years, and he mostly avoided public life. He left a legacy of devoted devotion to the British Crown and Commonwealth when he died on June 10, 1974. Military service and public duty. Throughout his life, Prince Henry, Duke of Gloucester, was a living example of responsibility, self-control, and loyalty. He was brought up with a strong feeling of duty since he was the third son of King George V and Queen Mary, and he understood that his position would be one of service rather than direct succession. He had formal education at Eton College, where he honed his intellectual and physical abilities and received customary royal mentoring. Later, he studied at Sandhurst's Royal Military College, which equipped him for a prestigious career in the British Army. Prince Henry, commissioned as an officer in the King's Royal Rifle Corps, spent much of his life in the military, moving up the ranks and eventually becoming a senior officer during World War II. Although he was not as well known politically as his brothers, King Edward VIII and King George VI, he defended the monarchy by representing the crown in official engagements and diplomatic missions overseas. His dedication to the Commonwealth was further shown during his time serving as Governor-General of Australia from 1945 to 1947. His contributions to international relations and the British monarchy are still significant in royal history because they demonstrate his unwavering commitment to duty and service. Prince Richard, Duke of Gloucester. A devoted member of the British royal family, Prince Richard, Duke of Gloucester, is well known for his dedication to humanitarian work, architecture, and public service. He is Prince Henry, Duke of Gloucester, and Lady Alice Montagu Douglas Scott's second son, born on August 26, 1944, at St. Matthew's Nursing Home in Northampton. Even though Prince Richard was born into a royal family, he worked as a professional before taking on his royal duties after his elder brother's death. Early life and education. Prince Richard's early schooling combined a contemporary academic approach and a traditional royal upbringing. Before pursuing his education at Eton College, one of the most prominent universities in the United Kingdom, he attended the Wellesley House School, a preparatory school in Broadstairs, Kent. He gained a solid academic foundation and a respect for public duty, history, and culture during his time at Eton. Prince Richard had a strong interest in architecture, unlike many of his royal predecessors who chose to serve in the military. Following his studies at Eton, he went to Cambridge's Magdalene College, where he graduated with a degree in architecture. He received intense academic instruction throughout his stay at Cambridge, which gave him the information and abilities he needed to pursue a career in architectural design. Professional career and royal duties. Prince Richard began his career as an architect after graduating, working for a business in London. Throughout his life, his enthusiasm for historic preservation and architecture never wavered. However, the terrible death of his older brother, Prince William of Gloucester, in an aircraft accident in 1972, ended his architectural career. Prince Richard was positioned to take on more royal duties and inherit his father's title due to this unanticipated incident. Following his father's death in 1974, Prince Richard assumed the title of Duke of Gloucester and accepted his royal responsibilities. He has been a devoted working royal since serving in various roles to serve the kingdom. He has sponsored groups devoted to education, military associations, and cultural conservation, made formal trips, and performed philanthropic work. Personal life and legacy. The Duchess of Gloucester, Birgitte Vane Durs, was born in Denmark and married Prince Richard in 1972. Lady Davina Windsor, Lady Rose Windsor, and Alexander Windsor, Earl of Ulster, are the couple's 3 children. The Duke and Duchess have continued to be involved in their commitments, sponsoring more than 150 organizations, even if their children do not perform formal royal obligations. Prince Richard's contribution to British society are still shaped by his commitment to historical preservation and architecture. He continues to support conservation fervently and is active with institutions like the British Museum and the Society of Antiquaries. Professional aspirations. A unique member of the British royal family, Prince Richard, Duke of Gloucester, has balanced his royal responsibilities and career goals. As the younger son of Prince Henry, Duke of Gloucester, and Princess Alice, he chose to follow a profession that deviated from the norm for royals. His architectural studies at Cambridge's Magdalene College gave him a unique viewpoint and cultivated his profound respect for architecture, history, and urban planning. Before his sudden transition into royal duties after the tragic death of his elder brother, Prince William of Gloucester, he was a practicing architect. Maintained a lower public profile. Prince Richard dedicated himself entirely to public service after assuming his father's title in 1974. He has performed several engagements on behalf of the monarchy throughout the years, emphasizing architecture, historical preservation, and humanitarian endeavors. He has gained a reputation in historic conservation due to his modest devotion and wealth of knowledge, mostly from his work with institutions such as historic royal palaces and the British Museum. His efforts are priceless, even though he is not as well known as certain senior royals. His legacy is one of knowledge, modesty, and a lifelong dedication to public service, history, and cultural preservation. Princess Alice, Duchess of Gloucester. A prominent member of the British royal family, Princess Alice, Duchess of Gloucester, was renowned for her devotion to duty, charity endeavors, and public service. She was born on December 25, 1901, as Alice Christabel Montague Douglas Scott. Her parents were Lady Margaret Bridgeman and John Montague Douglas Scott, 7th Duke of Buccleuch. She was prepared for an extraordinary existence as a member of the British royal family by her aristocratic heritage and strong sense of responsibility. Early life and education. Princess Alice was raised in an affluent but orderly household with a comprehensive education worthy of her high position. Alice had a solid intellectual foundation at London's St. James School, unlike many members of the royal family who were taught at home. Later, she pursued further schooling in France, where she improved her language proficiency and expanded her knowledge. Her family strongly emphasized self-reliance, discipline, and a love of the arts. Her lifelong interests, painting and music, fascinated her greatly. Her schooling also covered foreign languages, literature, and history, which helped her be ready for the future public and diplomatic positions. Marriage and royal responsibilities. The third son of King George V and Queen Mary, Prince Henry, Duke of Gloucester, was married to Alice in 1935. Alice became a member of the British royal family during their lavish royal wedding at Buckingham Palace. Prince William of Gloucester and Prince Richard, Duke of Gloucester, were the couple's sons. Alice accepted her royal duties as Duchess of Gloucester with dignity and commitment. She traveled with her husband on several official domestic and overseas trips. She actively participated in World War II, helping warriors and their families by volunteering as a nurse and collaborating with other nonprofits. Public service and later years. Princess Alice has a strong commitment to charity throughout her life. She supported several organizations and charities, especially those promoting education, healthcare, and the well-being of service members. She gained great respect and affection for her work with the Red Cross and other veterans organizations. She was an integral part of the royal family in her latter years, supporting her son Prince Richard in his responsibilities as Duke of Gloucester and attending formal events. Alice persevered in serving the public with dignity and fortitude, despite personal misfortunes, such as the premature loss of her husband and oldest son. Education emphasized culture, history, and languages. Princess Alice, Duchess of Gloucester, gracefully and devotedly embodied the ideals of the British royal family via a life characterized by responsibility, compassion, and devotion. Raised in an aristocratic family with close ties to the monarchy, she was born Lady Alice Montague Douglas Scott. Her education strongly emphasized languages, culture, and history, giving her the intelligence and composure needed for a lifetime of royal duties. Her lifelong passion for travel and profound admiration of the arts aided her success as a royal emissary. Embraced her new role. She devoted herself entirely to her new job after marrying Prince Henry, Duke of Gloucester, in 1935. She actively participated in war activities throughout World War II, assisting troops and civilians by collaborating with the Red Cross and other nonprofits. She continued her charitable endeavors after the war, supporting education, veterans' rights, and healthcare issues. She remained a cherished royal family member long into her old years, distinguished for her tenacity, brilliance, and kind disposition. She is remembered as a devoted royal and philanthropist, solidifying her status as a person of quiet strength and unwavering dedication in the annals of the British monarchy. Prince Andrew, Duke of York. A member of the British royal family, Prince Andrew, Duke of York, is well known for his public appearances and military duty. He is the third child and second son of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, born at Buckingham Palace on February 19, 1960. Before retiring from formal responsibilities, he served as a senior royal and actively represented the monarchy. Early life and education. Prince Andrew's education included military training with private schools, as is customary for British royals. He had his early schooling at Heatherdown School, a prep school close to Ascot, where he was taught history, English, and arithmetic. His academic foundation was strengthened, and he developed a feeling of discipline through his stay at Heatherdown. Following his father, Prince Philip, and elder brother, King Charles III, he joined at 13 at Scotland's Gordonstoun School, renowned for its demanding academic program and focus on outdoor sports, leadership, and physical stamina. During his time there, Prince Andrew engaged in the school's naval training program and excelled in sports, especially sailing. Military career and training. Prince Andrew decided to pursue a career in the military and joined the Royal Navy after graduating from Gordonstoun. He was prepared for a job in naval aviation during his basic training at the Britannia Royal Naval College in Dartmouth. He underwent intense training, including leadership classes, aviation theory, and endurance drills. He joined the Fleet Air Arm in 1980 after earning his helicopter's pilot's license. During the 1982 Falklands War, he conducted many sorties as a Sea King helicopter pilot aboard the aircraft carrier HMS Invincible. He continued to serve in the military in various roles, such as instructor and flight commander, after his active participation in the fight gained him respect and acclaim. Royal duties and public engagements. After serving in the military, Prince Andrew assumed full-time royal responsibilities, representing the Queen at formal events and trips throughout the globe. He became active with several nonprofits, especially those that helped veterans transition to civilian life, educated people, and entrepreneurs. Among the projects he worked on were the Duke of York's Community Initiative, which promoted social projects in northern England. Prince Andrew, however, has been embroiled in scandals in recent years, which have caused him to step down from his official responsibilities. Following legal issues and public criticism, he withdrew from royal activities in 2019 and focused on his personal life. The Royal Navy. The life of Prince Andrew, Duke of York, has been influenced by custom, military duty, and public appearances. He was equipped for a brilliant career in the Royal Navy by his education at Gordonstoun and his considerable nautical training. His previous achievements to the British Armed Forces and public service remain essential to his legacy, notwithstanding the controversy surrounding his latter years. Princess Margaret, Countess of Snowdon. A well-known and significant member of the British royal family, Princess Margaret, Countess of Snowdon, was renowned for her vivacious personality, passion for the arts, and commitment to public service. Her life was characterized by royal duty and a desire for independence, making her one of the most talked-about monarchy members of the 20th century. She was born on August 21, 1930, at Glamis Castle in Scotland, the younger daughter of King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, and the younger sister of Queen Elizabeth II. Early life and education. Her parents and the royal family closely watched Princess Margaret during her early years. She was raised in a loving but very regimented household as the younger daughter of the Duke and Duchess of York, later King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. She had her early education at home from Marion Crawford, her governess, who also instructed Princess Elizabeth, her elder sister. The curriculum strongly emphasized discipline and appropriate behavior, including languages, literature, music, and history. Margaret had more educational independence than her sister, who was ready for her destiny as queen. She still got in-depth training in British history, constitutional law, and etiquette to prepare her for a life of royal engagements and public obligations. She also became passionate about the arts, especially ballet and music, which would last a lifetime. Public role and responsibilities. Princess Margaret gained recognition as she got older for her deep understanding of society and culture. She was a talented vocalist and pianist who often performed at exclusive royal events. Her creative abilities were fostered, and she developed into a fervent advocate for the arts in Britain while keeping close ties with prominent authors, singers, and performers of the day. When Margaret visited South Africa with her parents and sister in 1947, her royal responsibilities formally started. She gained popularity fast and was renowned for her grace and charm. Throughout her life, she made hundreds of public appearances to promote cultural institutions, hospitals, and charitable organizations. Personal life and legacy. The media often covered Princess Margaret's private life. In the 1950s, her relationship with divorced Royal Equestrian Group Captain Peter Townsend became a well-known scandal. Margaret was strongly impacted by the Church of England's aversion to divorce-related remarriage at the time, which finally led her to decide against marrying Townsend. She wed Anthony Armstrong Jones, Earl of Snowdon, a photographer, in 1960. Lady Sarah Chatto and David Armstrong Jones were the couple's two children. Margaret became the first senior British royal to divorce in modern times when their marriage broke down due to issues in 1978. Fascinating figure. An engaging member of the British royal family, Princess Margaret, Countess of Snowdon, had a life filled with responsibilities, cultural impact, and personal struggles. She was raised in the shadow of her older sister, Queen Elizabeth II, but managed to forge her unique personality as the younger daughter of King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. Despite her conventional schooling, she cultivated significant creative and intellectual interests, especially in music, dance, and literature. She was a talented vocalist and pianist with strong bonds with prominent personalities in her era's culture. Dedicated to her official duties. Despite being seen as a less traditional royal, Margaret has committed to her official responsibilities. She made many appearances in favor of charitable causes, especially those that supported the arts, children's welfare, and healthcare. She was a media phenomenon because of her glitzy public persona and active social life, distinguishing her from previous royals. Her private life, however, came under close public scrutiny due to her well-publicized relationships and subsequent marriage and divorce from Anthony Armstrong Jones. Notwithstanding these difficulties, her contributions to the monarchy and the arts, which capture a life of grace, nuance, and unshakable dedication to cultural enrichment, remain crucial to her legacy. Anne, Princess Royal. Princess Royal Anne is one of the British royal family's most devoted and diligent members. She is the only daughter and second child of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, and was born at Clarence House on August 15, 1950. She has become a well-known royal figure, renowned for her equestrian accomplishments, considerable humanitarian activities, and unflinching dedication to duty. Early life and education. Princess Anne, the daughter of the current king, was educated in a way that struck a compromise between tradition and modernity. Unlike earlier generations of royal ladies, Anne went to conventional education, mostly taught at home. She began her schooling at Kent's independent boarding school, Benenden School, where she was given a well-rounded education. Benenden provided her with a demanding curriculum that included science, math, English, history, and French. Additionally, the school greatly emphasized self-reliance, discipline, and leadership, qualities Anne would eventually exhibit in her royal responsibilities. Before concentrating on her royal duties and equestrian career, she finished her education with a stellar academic record. Equestrian achievements. Because of her mother's love of horses, Princess Anne had a strong interest in equestrian activities from an early age. She developed into a skilled rider who competed internationally. An important turning point in her athletic career was 1971, when she took home the individual gold medal at the European Eventing Championship. As the first British royal to compete in the Olympics, she went on to compete professionally and even represented Great Britain at the 1976 Summer Olympics in Montreal. Royal duties and public service. One of Anne's life's defining characteristics has been her commitment to public service. She supports several charities and organizations by participating in hundreds of annual engagements for the monarchy. She has been primarily involved in sports, education, and healthcare issues. Since 1970, she has served as president of Save the Children, one of her most prominent positions. She has gained broad recognition for her vast travels and active involvement in humanitarian endeavors. Additionally, Anne has been active with groups including the Royal National Children's Springboard Foundation, the Riding for the Disabled Association, and the British Red Cross. Personal life and legacy. Peter Phillips and Zara Tyndall are Princess Anne's two children from her 1973 marriage to Captain Mark Phillips. Later, in 1992, the couple got a divorce. She married Vice Admiral Sir Timothy Lawrence in the same year. Unlike many other royals, Anne decided not to grant her children royal titles so that they might enjoy relatively quiet lives. Benenden School. In the British royal family, Anne, Princess Royal, is a unique character renowned for her unrelenting determination, no-nonsense approach, and relentless work ethic. She was brought up with a strong feeling of duty and responsibility since she was the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. Her education at Benenden School instilled the principles defining her royal career and prepared her for a life of leadership, discipline, and service. Unlike many of her predecessors, she adopted a very active public position early and became known as one of the monarchy's most diligent members. Passion for philanthropy. As a skilled rider and the first British royal to compete in the Olympics, Anne excelled in equestrian sports outside her royal responsibilities. She competed in the 1976 Montreal Games. Her involvement with nearly 300 organizations, especially those concentrating on foreign development, healthcare, and children's welfare, demonstrates a remarkable love for charity. She is regarded as one of the most admired royals of her time because of her determination and strong will. She has established a noteworthy legacy of leadership and devotion with her equestrian accomplishments, philanthropic endeavors, and dedication to duty. Princess Alexandra, the Honourable Lady Ogilvy. An esteemed and loyal member of the British royal family is Princess Alexandra, the Honourable Lady Ogilvy. She was born on December 25, 1936, at 3 Belgrave Square in London. Her parents are Princess Marina of Greece and Denmark and Prince George, Duke of Kent. Queen Elizabeth II's first cousin has been actively involved in royal responsibilities for many years, receiving praise for her public service and humanitarian endeavors. Early life and education. With connections to both Greek and British royal dynasties, Princess Alexandra was born into a well-known royal family. She grew up in a home that valued tradition, responsibility, and service. Her mother, Princess Marina, made sure Alexandra and her brothers had a well-rounded childhood when her father passed away too soon in 1942. She started her official education at Heathfield School, a private boarding school in Ascot, Berkshire. She studied English, history, languages, and the arts at Heathfield, gaining a strong academic foundation. Later, she went to Paris to complete her education, where she improved her language abilities and developed her understanding of European culture. Royal responsibilities and public service. Princess Alexandra was ready for a career in public service from a young age. In 1954, she went with her mother on an official trip to Australia, marking her first notable engagement. She immediately gained recognition for her composure and ability to relate to individuals from various backgrounds. She has traveled far for royal engagements, visiting nations including Canada, New Zealand, and Japan, and she has served in many official roles throughout the years, often on behalf of Queen Elizabeth II. She has cemented her position as a senior member of the royal family by attending essential official functions like coronations, state dinners, and Commonwealth get-togethers. Charitable work and patronages. Princess Alexandra's commitment to philanthropic projects has earned her widespread admiration. She has been the president or patron of more than 100 organizations, mainly in education, healthcare, and the arts. The well-known organizations she has backed are the Florence Nightingale Foundation, the British Red Cross, and the Alzheimer's Society. Her efforts with medical facilities and hospitals have had a particularly significant influence. As a longtime supporter of palliative care and assistance for individuals nearing the end of their lives, she has maintained a relationship with St. Christopher's Hospice. Her dedication to generosity has brought her many honors and the gratitude of people she has assisted. Personal life and legacy. Businessman Angus Ogilvy, a well-known figure in the corporate world, married Princess Alexandra in 1963. They had 2 children, James and Marina Ogilvy, and their marriage was characterized by a great deal of passion and care for one another. Princess Alexandra has faithfully carried out her royal responsibilities even after her husband died in 2004. Duty, service, and compassion. As one of the British royal family's most devoted and polite members, Princess Alexandra, the Honourable Lady Ogilvy, has lived a life of responsibility, devotion, and compassion. She was born into a realm of public expectation and royal obligation as Queen Elizabeth II's first cousin. She gained the abilities and cultural awareness required to do her job quickly and confidently, thanks to her schooling at Heathfield School and her last year in Paris. Speaking French fluently and studying history and the arts, she sincerely appreciated public involvement and diplomacy. Representing the monarchy in the United Kingdom. From a young age, Princess Alexandra had a busy schedule of royal responsibilities representing the monarchy domestically and internationally. Much of her public life has been characterized by her strong dedication to philanthropic causes with a concentration on healthcare, palliative care, and the welfare of veterans. She has a long history of quietly supporting issues with groups like the Alzheimer's Society and the British Red Cross. Her humanitarian endeavors and uncompromising dedication to public service have solidified her status as a cherished and esteemed royal family member. She exemplifies warmth, elegance, and unflinching commitment. Queen Elizabeth II. Queen Elizabeth II, the longest reigning queen in British history, represented consistency and commitment. Princess Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor, the oldest daughter of King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, was born on April 21, 1926. Throughout her extraordinary 7-decade reign, she modernized the monarchy and managed historical changes while upholding her obligations. Early life and education. Princess Elizabeth was born under her grandfather, King George V. Her uncle, Edward VIII, was the heir apparent at the time of her birth, therefore it was not anticipated that she would become queen. However, once Edward abdicated in 1936, her father became King George VI, and Elizabeth became the presumed successor. Elizabeth's schooling was designed to prepare her for a career in public service. Unlike many children of her generation, she did not attend a formal school. Instead, she received her education from private tutors at home, mainly with the help of Marion Crawford, her governess. Her coursework focused on the duties she would eventually do and included topics like history, constitutional law, language studies, and literature. Much emphasis was put on British history and governance to ensure she understood how the constitutional monarchy operated. Additionally, she was proficient in French, which helped her diplomatic endeavors throughout her rule. She also received religious education from the Archbishop of Canterbury as part of her training, which further strengthened the close ties between the Church of England and the monarchy. Preparation for the throne. Elizabeth assumed more responsibility as World War II went on, obtaining direct leadership experience. She addressed children evacuees in her debut radio broadcast on the BBC's Children's Hour in 1940 at the age of 14. This demonstrated early on her capacity to engage the people. She became the first female royal family member to enlist in the military when she enlisted in the Auxiliary Territorial Service, ATS, at 18. By actively participating in the war effort, she broke royal customs and showed her dedication to service by training as a mechanic and driver. Royal duties and reign. Elizabeth's royal engagements rose dramatically after the war. In 1947, she wed Philip Mountbatten, Duke of Edinburgh, and had 4 children, Edward, Andrew, Charles, and Anne. She took the throne at 25 in 1952 when King George VI died. Critical historical occurrences, including the decolonization of Africa and the Caribbean, the growth of the Commonwealth, and many political shifts characterized her reign. She maintained her resolve in a changing world, balancing tradition and modernity. Legacy and influence. Her schooling greatly influenced Queen Elizabeth II's leadership. She could handle difficult political and diplomatic circumstances elegantly because of her extensive history, law, and government knowledge. Her dedication to duty and public service established a standard for the next royal generations. Until her death on September 8, 2022, she was still a cherished and esteemed queen, leaving a legacy of perseverance and commitment. King Charles III. The oldest son of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, is King Charles III, previously known as Prince Charles. He was born in Buckingham Palace on November 14, 1948, and when his mother took the throne in 1952, he was 3 years old and heir apparent. He spent decades preparing for his kingly duty, emphasizing environmental activism, public service, and education. Early life and education. Charles was the first heir to the British throne to undergo official schooling instead of private tutoring. Before relocating to Cheam School in Hampshire, he started his education at London's Hill House School. His father also went to Gordonstoun, a strict boarding school in Scotland, where he later studied. Gordonstoun's emphasis on resilience, outdoor recreation, and discipline shaped Charles's attitude and leadership abilities. Charles was involved in several extracurricular activities while attending Gordonstoun, such as sailing and theater. Even while he found the educational atmosphere difficult, he eventually recognized the important lessons it taught him about responsibility and tenacity. University rather than military. Charles defied royal custom by going to college after finishing high school instead of immediately enlisting in the military. He became the first British heir to graduate from college after attending Trinity College in Cambridge. He showed a strong interest in cultural and historical studies by pursuing a Bachelor of Arts in Archaeology, Anthropology, and History. To prepare for his investment as Prince of Wales in 1969, he also spent a short period at Cambridge studying Welsh language and history at Aberystwyth University. Military training and public service. Charles served in the Royal Navy and Royal Air Force, RAF, after graduating college. After learning to pilot helicopters and fixed-winged aircraft, he eventually served aboard several Navy vessels, including HMS Hermes. He gained strategic and leadership abilities from his military duty, shaping his public service approach. Following his time in the military, Charles committed to several humanitarian and charity endeavors. He established the Prince's Trust in 1976 to give underprivileged kids access to entrepreneurship, work, and education. One of his most important contributions to society is still this project. Environmental advocacy and leadership. Charles has promoted awareness of climate change, sustainable agriculture, and environmental preservation for many years. He has placed a strong emphasis on preserving nature in his writings, talks, and projects. He has promoted sustainability and ethical business practices in close collaboration with international organizations. Accession to the throne and legacy. Charles became King Charles III when Queen Elizabeth II died on September 8, 2022. His extensive training for the throne and strong dedication to duty made him a wise and seasoned ruler. He is a contemporary and progressive monarch whose leadership style has been molded by his education, military experience, and charitable endeavors. His rule is anticipated to be centered on modernization, continuity, and tackling global issues like social injustice and climate change. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, is a well-known member of the British royal family for his activism, charity, and military service. He was born on September 15, 1984, at London's St. Mary's Hospital. His parents are King Charles III and the late Princess Diana. He has established a distinct position within and outside the royal family, focusing on humanitarian work, mental health awareness, and service. Early life and education. Henry Charles Albert David, better known as Prince Harry, was born and raised in Kensington Palace alongside his parents and elder brother, Prince William. Harry and William were nurtured by their father and other royal family members after Princess Diana passed away tragically in 1997, managing both emotional tragedy and public scrutiny. Before attending the Wetherby School in London, Prince Harry, like his brother, started his official education at Jane Minor's nursery school. Afterward, he went to Berkshire's Ludgrove School, a boarding preparatory institution. Harry flourished in sports, especially rugby and polo, and was well known for his vivacious attitude and physical prowess. Eton College. Following royal custom, Harry enrolled at Eton College at 13. He maintained his athletic prowess at Eton and showed a strong interest in geography and art. He took a year off after finishing his A-levels in these disciplines. He spent his gap year doing humanitarian work in Lesotho and working on a cattle ranch in Australia, eventually serving as the impetus for establishing his organization, Charitable. Military career and public service. Prince Harry chose to join the military rather than continue his studies at a university. He began training to become an officer in the British Army in 2005 at the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst. After training, he was commissioned into the Household Cavalry's Blues and Royals Regiment as a second lieutenant. Prince Harry did 2 deployments in Afghanistan, a forward air controller in 2007 to 2008, and a co-pilot and gunner of Apache helicopters in 2012 to 2013. He developed discipline, leadership abilities, and a strong sense of responsibility due to his military service. He left active military duty in 2015. Nevertheless, he persisted in helping veterans and active military members by establishing programs like the Invictus Games to benefit wounded service members. Philanthropy and advocacy. Prince Harry has devoted much of his life to philanthropic endeavors, especially environmental preservation, veterans assistance, and mental health. He has started several projects with his wife, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, including the Archwell Foundation dedicated to humanitarian causes. Military service and philanthropy. Prince Harry is dedicated to advocacy and service because of his education and life experiences. From military duty and charity to Eton College, he has used his position to assist worthwhile causes and solve global challenges. Even though he retired from royal responsibilities in 2020, he still has an impact on public opinion and supports humanitarian causes around the globe. Prince William, Prince of Wales. On June 21, 1982, Prince William, Prince of Wales, was born in London at St. Mary's Hospital. He has been in the spotlight from birth as the oldest son of King Charles III and the late Princess Diana. Although royal customs influenced his upbringing, his mother ensured that he and his younger brother, Prince Harry, enjoyed a normal upbringing. William proceeded to grow into a composed and responsible member of the royal family after Diana's untimely death in 1997. Education. Prince William had early schooling at London's Wetherby School and Jane Minor's nursery school. After that, he went to Ludgrove School in Berkshire, where he was a standout student and athlete, especially in football and swimming. He started attending Eton College at 13, obtaining A-levels in geography, biology, and art history. After graduating from Eton, William took a year off to work on community initiatives in Chile and Africa and prepare for the British Army in Belize. After that, he studied geography at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland, where he graduated in 2005. He met Katherine Middleton, his future wife, at St. Andrews. Military career and philanthropy. After completing Sandhurst's Royal Military Academy training, Prince William joined the Royal Air Force as a search and rescue pilot. He has devoted much of his life to charitable work, particularly emphasizing veterans' welfare, environmental preservation, and mental health. Prince William has developed into a responsible and caring leader due to his education and experiences. His military experience, academic background, and charitable activities show his dedication to duty and humanitarian concerns. Catherine, Princess of Wales. The Princess of Wales, Catherine Elizabeth Middleton, was born in Reading, England on January 9, 1982. Her parents, Michael and Carol Middleton, established a prosperous party supply company and reared her in the Berkshire community of Bucklebury. Catherine and her younger siblings, Pippa and James, were raised in a close-knit household. Education. Catherine started her schooling at Pangbourne, Berkshire's St. Andrews School, where she excelled in academics and athletics. Before moving to Marlborough College in Wiltshire, she attended Down House School briefly. She excelled academically and flourished at Marlborough, especially in sports like tennis and hockey. Following her education, Katherine studied art history at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland, graduating in 2005. She met Prince William at St. Andrews, and the two were married in 2011 after a long-term romance. Royal life and philanthropy. Since joining the royal family, Katherine has dedicated her life to philanthropic endeavors, emphasizing the arts, mental health awareness, and early childhood development. She has played a key role in projects including the opening of the Center for Early Childhood and the mental health work of the Royal Foundation. Katherine, Princess of Wales, has become a committed public personality by fusing her education and life experiences. From her scholarly accomplishments at St. Andrews to her broad charitable endeavors, she has skillfully carried out her royal responsibilities while using her position to promote critical social concerns. Prince George. Prince George is maturing. The 11-year-old prince is the son of Prince William and Kate Middleton. He will soon grow up and leave his present school. A source who spoke to the Mirror said that George's parents have been debating whether their eldest kid should go after finishing the primary school he is already enrolled in. His parents disagree, and Kate is said to be heartbroken by William's proposal. Lambrook. The BBC claims that George and his younger siblings, Princess Charlotte, age 9, and Prince Louis, age 6, attend Lambrook, a co-educational primary school for students aged 3 to 13. Where is George's next school? This is Kate's preference. It was a pleasant school life for her. The source told the Mirror that Kate would prefer George to attend a co-educational school to be with his siblings, which Kate experienced at Marlborough with her sister Pippa and brother James. Different from his wife. William attended an all-boys boarding school called Eton, which has a long history with aristocrats and royal family members. According to the source, William has fond memories of Eton. William wants George to go to Eton, and George is reportedly excited about attending the same school as his dad. Kate is described as heartbroken at the idea of George attending Eton, believing the school to be too stuffy. Although William and Kate appear to have entirely different ideas about where George should go to school, there is always the possibility that traditions will be altered. George's best interests. William and Harry didn't follow in their father's footsteps by going to Gordonstown in Scotland, and George may break the Eton mold and end up somewhere else. Whatever happens, it'll be a decision made by William and Kate with George's best interests factored in. According to the source, King Charles III attended a different boarding school than his sons, so William might also send his son to a different school than the one he attended.
If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon